cards, 2 of which, you know, 2 Doomblades, 2 lands. And then that's not nearly as good as, say, one of Doomblade Tribute to Hunger, 2 lands. Like, that's a better alchemy, depending on what your opponent has. So in decks where you have this sort of selection, varying things up can be very good if you play Ponders, if you play Forbidden Alchemies. In a non-blue deck like this one, it might be... the arguments for splitting up are a little less. Other than that, he just doesn't have room to play 4s of them, and so he's just trying to hope to draw the right one at the right time.
All right, so here the players are shuffling. StarCityGames.com, Sacramento Standard Open. This is round 6 of 9. I'm Ricky Hayashi here with Matthias Hunt, Edwin Garcia with what we're calling Junk Walkers on the left, and Blake Hurdle with Blue-White Delver, the hexproof version on the right.
Now, surprisingly, Edwin last round played and won the mirror match. So there was another.
Can there be a mirror match of this?
I know, right? That's the first. It wasn't. I mean, I think the lists were significantly different in some choices, but they still were both
the same
black,
colors.
Same three colors, both playing 10 planeswalkers. So this deck is not just one deck having a good day. It could very well be quite a strong choice today.
Yeah. So they could both be poised to make top 8.
They could both make top 8.
Blake waves to the crowd.
All right.
You don't see that very often. It used to be on the camera match, people would get a little theatrical. They would put their hand up to the camera above them just before they mulligan. So we have Edwin winning the die roll, starting out on 2 lands. Blake just with a tap land into play, which has got to be good news for Edwin. That one of the scary things about Delver is usually they either have a turn 1 Delver or a turn 2 Mana Leak. Blake will have neither this game, which gives Edwin an opening. Maybe he would love to resolve a Lingering Souls and something into this opening. All right.
We're on a Ponder. There seems to be some debate about what's going on with the Ponder.
Maybe he put his 3 cards a little too close to his hands.
Yeah,
and was like, hey, make sure those stay apart.
Yeah. And
or he could have been asking how many cards in hand.
Sure. And it is Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls is very good against Delver, in that now if Blake plays a Delver to flip or a Geist of St. Traft, Edwin's kind of at the ready for an answer with it.
Right, having those 2 blockers. I mean, we even saw this in Legacy at the Legacy Grand Prix, where Tom Martell with Lingering Souls really put the stops on Delvers.
A probe, so we'll get to see what all Edwin's actually sitting on. He has a slip and a lot of lands. I know Gideon Juro. Blake not even writing it down, just keeps plodding on through for the Geist of St. Traft.
Geist of St. Traft gonna have trouble getting past these souls that have lingered.
I believe Blake is has a Sword of War and Peace in his hand, which is pretty happy to see that Edwin's answers don't really deal with that. Especially Edwin drawing another Lingering Souls. Edwin's going to be in the awkward position of having to race against a Sword of War and Peace here. As Gideon doesn't really... A Geist with a Sword is not really answerable by any of Edwin's cards.
Now up to 4 1/1 Spirit tokens for Edwin Garcia. See him attack with 2 of them here? Yeah, just 1.
Just 1. I think he's
playing around the Vapor Snag.
So, remind me, if a Geist of St. Traft attacks, and if Edwin plays as Gideon and +2s it, does the Angel have to go with the Gideon too, or is it just the Geist?
Just the Geist. The Angel token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So that's different from being declared as an attacker, which is the only restriction that Gideon causes.
So he could theoretically race Edwin with Angel tokens.
Yeah, the Geist will attack Gideon, and he can... Oh, I would think you probably want the Angel to just also hit Gideon and try to take it out.
Pretty possible.
Edwin tries for a Garruk Relentless, but Blake Hurdle has the Mana Leak.
1 more damage pushed in. If Blake has a 5th untapped land, Edwin's going to be in for a rather rude surprise here. Which appears he does.
And there it is. Oh. Will it be war or peace? Why not both? He points at the tokens like, those guys are white.
Yeah, those are white. You can't do that. But he's going to block the Angel.
Sure, of course. But he takes 4 damage from the Geist and plus some more damage for cards in hand.
So, Edwin.
We'll get those updated life totals in just a sec.
Edwin, suddenly the game plan changes. He's going to try to fog a turn with the Gideon. And I think the new game plan is going to be to try to race the Sword of War and Peace until you can find an answer.
And Gideon's still good here if you +2 him because the sword won't trigger if it hits him.
The sword will not trigger, right. But so he might leave back 1 spirit token to chump block the Angel. And it appears what he's going to do.
He's thinking about it. There he goes. So now Blake did gain some life off his sword. So he's at 19, goes down to 17. Edwin's at 13. This is a very interesting race.
Definitely. Once again, Edwin needs to, and the gut shot will take out Gideon Jura.
So they're both going to hit Gideon and
now,
just take it out.
So now there's the worry that if you're racing against a sword which is actually connecting, the sword will be gaining life, making the race very hard for Edwin to stay with. He's going to have to really answer this Geist.
He does have those 4 sweepers we talked about. He could draw Beast Within or an Oblivion Ring to take out the sword itself.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be flashing back some Lingering Souls here.
It looks like his hand is Land Tragic Slip, so no help coming as of yet.
Edwin's got such an interesting deck. Like, anything could come out of left field here, like an Elspeth Tyrell gaining life can tip the scales.
He also has, he has Grave Titan. That'd be an excellent card to draw.
Sword of War and Peace does not give pro black, so
yeah, that would very nicely shut things down because I don't believe Blake has more counter spells.
Edwin attacked with 2 tokens, leaving the 2 that he just summoned back.
Yeah, I think he's determined that racing probably isn't going to work here, so he just wants to make sure that Angel token does not connect. He needs to buy as many turns as possible right now.
Yeah, his deck can certainly produce answers to this.
Yes.
And just chump blocking the Angel with 1 Lingering Souls token, he gets so many of them off of the flashbacks.
Needs more souls.
Matt Curtin, please return to your match. Matt Curtin, please return to your match.
And does he have more of them? Seems to have a whole stack of different kinds of tokens, so.
Well, we should have some tokens sitting there, I believe.
There we go.
There's another one. So have you seen the art for Lingering Souls, like taking a close look?
No, tell me about it.
One of those ghosts just flat out has a dagger stuck in his back.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a very interesting piece of art. All right, Edwin attacks for 3, but just not getting anything in versus the life gain from the sword.
Now, he has 3 cards in his hand? Or just the 2? No, he played a land, so he has 2, so this will drop him to 1, which puts him dead to Snapcaster Mage and Gut Shot, because there's also the Gut Shot in his yard. He's going to Tragic Slip.
What is...
He's Tragic Slipping his Spirit and then Tragic Slipping the Angel token.
Okay.
Though I don't see how that's different than blocking the Angel token.
Yeah, what does that accomplish?
I don't understand.
The end is near here.
Yes,
he needs to find an answer this turn for the pro-white. And he does not.
Still had all these guys. Still had all these guys the same traps. Alright, so Blake Hurdle playing Blue-White Delver are now up a game. Let's look at their sideboards. So Blake's sideboard, fairly standard for a Delver deck.
Is it? I mean, the first card on here is Jace Memory Adept. That can't be standard.
The deck that Matt Costa ended up winning Grand Prix Baltimore with, it was running Jace Memory Adept out of the board.
To what effect, though?
I think in control matchups they wanted that they could go a little bit bigger against control decks because it gives them something else to worry about all of a sudden.
Fair.
He has sort of Feast and Famine, which probably will not come in. His War Piece is better at knocking, well, as you just saw, is really good against white creatures.
He seems to be set up a bunch of cards for the mirror here, like timely reinforcements, ratchet bombs. Not that useful against the Jund Walkers.
I'm not sure that really he changes much. Probably his gut shots will leave, maybe become ratchet bombs. But for the most part, I believe Blake will probably be playing his Game 1 deck.
He's got Flash Freeze and Celestial Purge, which he didn't see the black, did he?
No, I don't think. He might suspect Sorin. Purge would be good against Sorin and Grave Titan and nothing else.
Yeah.
So it's
probably
only
not
4
good
targets.
enough. And yeah, the Flash Freeze also too many colors here to really bring in the color hosers.
Right.
But Edwin is probably going to make some big changes here. He's got Curse of Death's Hold, 2 of them.
That will almost certainly come in.
And let's see, 2 Autumn's Veils.
2 Autumn's Veils. That's probably for the control matchup. So he probably plays the Curse of Death's Hold. He has 2 Batter Skulls, which may be better than Elesh Norn in this situation, just because they cost less. Both of them.
Yeah, 7-drop, and he does not have any kind of reanimation engine. So
right, I think I'd rather have a 5-drop than a 7-drop, both of which do a good job. I mean, both of them are weak to Vapor Snag, but outside of that, both are pretty good at tying up the game.
But what's kind of surprising to me here is that Edwin Garcia does not have any more artifact destruction in his board. He's got a Ray of Revelation,
right,
and 3 Celestial Purges as kind of supplemental removal, but nothing like Naturalizes or more Oblivion Rings.
No, it seems like the Sword of War and Peace will really just, for the most part, he's going to have to, a War Piece on Geist is going to be very difficult for him.
Yeah, and again, Blake also has the Invisible Stalkers that we did not see, so...
That's true, Blake. That card, yeah, he'll need to make sure he can answer any of those cards. Or hope maybe that Blake doesn't play them.
And we'll probably see Edwin maybe take out the Tragic Slips, which we saw him use kind of ineffectively there. Not that useful against the Hexproof.
Yeah, Tragic Slip is a little... So he does have some cards that are of lower value. Yeah, Tragic Slip doesn't do too much in the matchup. He is playing 4 Rampant Growth in his deck, actually, as well, which is interesting. I think he's really trying to hit all his Planeswalkers earlier. So Rampant Growth is actually probably a pretty decent card against Delver in the sense that...
And hit his colors, too, because he's playing a bunch of different kind of double color spells in this deck.
Yeah, if on the play, I were to play, if what he really wants to have the situation be is he wants Blake to be afraid of tapping out for Geist of St. Traps, and Rampant Growth goes a long way in that. Tragic Slip may stay in just as an answer to Delver. He needs to make sure that a flipped Delver doesn't just really go to town against him.
Sure. Like, we didn't see any, but of course, you're going to assume that Delver Secrets are there.
In that deck. Most definitely. So.
But I do think Lingering Souls is a great counter to Delver Secrets.
Right, and then it really is. So, both players still shuffling. Edwin will be on the play. Edwin appears to be mulliganing.
Yeah, there was a mulligan right there.
So that'll put him now on 6 cards.
And he looked. He looked at the top 2 cards of his library. I never look.
I always like to look at the top cards. But you always have to be careful.
Not to base your future
Not
decisions.
to base your future decisions on it. Your deck was still... It's like the cards didn't actually exist. They were just equal percentages of whatever was in your deck. It could have been anything.
Schrodinger's top deck.
Yes.
So Edwin's going to go down to 6 cards here. But it seems like he should be mulliganing a little more in this matchup.
Now, is Blake keeping a 7, or do we... It looks like he's also shuffling, so it might be that we're... It might be that we're playing 6 on 6 here.
Alright, so... Both on 6? Uh-oh, there's the Delver. It's a foil Delver.
I always like it when you get to play those cards, because you only have to have 1 foil Delver, and then all your Delvers are foil. Well, sometimes 2.
I kind of want a foil checklist. Actually, for the longest time, I wanted to have foil tokens.
So Edwin, he does have a third land. It's a Grim Backwoods, so he's going to actually have the turn 3 Lingering Souls, which is very good against a Delver opening and not a Geist of St. Traft. Now there's not a Sword of War piece. That is pretty good. He also has a Day of Judgment. This time now he has an answer to Geist of St. Traft. Instead, opting to Tragic Slip the Delver. That's pretty good. There's not really another great target for Tragic Slip in the deck.
No, and you wanna hit it before it transforms into a 3/2.
Right, and we have our Geist again. All right, well, Edwin almost certainly is going to respond by blowing up everything.
Why not just Lingering Souls first? No, is that too risky?
I think the Mana Leak is. He really needs. I would blow up everything right now. He can't let it get Mana Leaked because he'll lose if that happens. So he's thinking Garruk it looks like he's looking at Garruk make a wolf also, but he opts for the day.
Okay, so that is definitely the safe play here.
Right, yeah, he probably has fond memories of last game.
And Blake's got nothing on turn 4. That's not good for him.
So Edwin here can make 4 1/1s, which seems really strong.
And even if one half of it gets Mana Leak, that's still
right.
Still a huge swing for Edwin right here. Well, he just says go, no flashback.
Ooh, and he's going to pay the price for that.
Yeah, that walked it right into a surgical.
I understand. I mean, it's almost like you're playing on some sort of mass removal, or he's trying to play around. Maybe he's trying to play around Mana Leak, but his first play already didn't play around Mana Leak.
Yeah.
I think the safe decision is to just make the whole army.
Because looking at his hand now off of the surgical extraction, there was literally no reason to hold back on that.
Right, I would agree. I mean, he's still in a very fine spot, but, you know, it would have been great to have had 2 more spirits.
Yeah, well, and not to have the other Lingering Souls taken out.
Right.
Because when you flash something back, when you cast it the first time and then you cast it the second time, you have the first priority, so it immediately goes on the stack and they do not get a chance to hit it in the graveyard at any point.
Right, it's a little bit different with sometimes cards with, Unearth works the other way. Unearth, I remember that used to come
Unearth is an activated ability, so until the ability resolves, the creature stays in the graveyard.
So now he does have the sword, but Edwin's at the ready with Beast Within.
5 lands and nothing to do.
He does have a Snapcaster Mage, which he can just flash in as a 2/1 at the end of combat and then re-equip with the sword, which is pretty nice. So Edwin has this option now between trying to run out his Garruk or waiting till it's Mana Leak proof.
So that's the Grim Backwoods we were talking about.
Right.
I think I would just start drawing some cards.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to risk the Garruk here. You have Beast Within.
He's gonna Beast Within the sword.
If that was his play, he'd almost certainly want to do that during upkeep, so that the 3/3 doesn't have the ability to attack him.
Right, because he's got 3 mana for Mana Leak no matter what. So the only way it's bad to do it on
is if his opponent has Dissipate in his hand. That's
or 2 Mana Leaks.
Or 2 Mana Leaks. But if his opponent has 2 Mana Leaks, he's probably fine with his opponent double Mana Leaking the spell.
Yeah, I think so too. I think waiting till the upkeep would have been much better. Yeah, get that Venusaur out of here. No Pokemons.
No. And Ponder off from Blake.
Of course, by knowing what Pokemon that was, I've just given myself away.
All right, Beast gets in there, and it's going to get chumped. I'm not sure it needs to be chumped there. I would rather chump and draw a card.
Yeah, exactly. Get some value out of the backwoods. Oh,
it may not matter. Does he have double black?
But he was afraid of the Mana Leak before.
Does he actually have double black, though?
So I believe we got an Isolated Chapel.
You have 2 backwoods. Is it a Razorverge Thicket and Isolated Chapel? I don't believe he has the double black for it.
Wow. That happens with these decks sometimes, though.
I mean, he is playing Rampant Growth, so...
Yeah, I think we've got 2 Grim Backwoods, Sun Petal Grove, Razorverge Thicket, Plains, and Isolated Chapel.
So not going to be able to cast the Grave Titan this turn.
Do it. Draw a card.
I mean, the worry about playing Garuk here is that his opponent did ponder into the Delver, so you can be somewhat certain that this Delver is about to flip.
Right.
So
you
the
have to
correct
Garuk
play
and
is to
fight
Garuk
the
and
Delver.
fight the Delver.
Yeah. So Garuk will flip into, what is he? Garuk Veil Cursed?
So what he has to hope for, I mean, right here, I think his opponent should, and if his opponent should end step, play his Snapcaster Mage for nothing. Or he just put a Vapor Snag on top.
Yeah.
And
so he was planning on flipping his Delver with the Vapor Snag. And
right. And Edwin now in a tougher situation.
Yikes.
But I mean, one swamp still
Gives him a Grave Titan.
Oh, well, is there a mana leak in the yard? It's just going to ponder. Gut shot. Timely reinforcements. They're not very timely right now, so.
Timely, that's an unusual card to bring in.
In a deck with so few creatures, that's a very interesting choice to bring in. I guess the deck does make quite a board presence with Lingering Souls. The question is, if your opponent has played in Flashback Lingering Souls, is Timely Reinforcements even that good for you?
Right, and you're going to have trouble gaining the life off of it most times.
Yeah, you're probably just playing it for the creatures. He draws Moorland Haunt, which is somewhat relevant here, but that's still, I think really the game's coming down to, can Edwin cast his Grave Titan in a timely manner?
Oh, and he just did. He drew his second black source.
Drew the black source.
Gravely reinforcements here for Edwin
and
Garcia.
It looks like he was not allowed to cast it. Because he didn't actually have it seems like Edwin tried to cast it off not the correct mana, and his opponent pointed that out. Yeah, he tried to cast the Grave Titan, and his opponent said, "You don't have double black," and it's like Edwin was forced to pick up the card.
Because he just drew the Razor
He drew the Razor Verge ticket, so the Grave Titan's still. Yeah, now they're discussing what had just happened.
We have a judge on hand there, so
judge will decide whether or not it's an honest mistake.
He says, all right, you get a game rule violation and a warning. So that whole time, Edwin was holding the Grave Titan, fearing the mana leak.
And Edwin believed he could cast the Grave Titan.
But then still played it into a potential mana leak.
Well, he probably felt like he had no option anymore. And he's going to cast, is that a bird? Oh, it's another Sun Petal Grove. And the clock is ticking for Edwin.
A lot of green-white, only a single black.
And here comes the Spirit Army.
Oh, is it double Moorland Haunt?
No,
one Moorland
Haunt. 2 haunts. That will actually increase his clock by 1 turn. 7 then, yeah, so very relevant. Two Pokemon. 2 something.
No, those are the Star City
those are
Games
Star City.
Spirit tokens. You get 2 tokens when you place an order at starcitygames.com.
Oh, wow. All right.
Could be a spirit. We have many other ones. Zombies, angels, dragons.
And that's one of the Justin Treadway art ones? Or
I don't actually remember which artist that was.
It's so still no black source.
No.
It's Kristen Pleskow that the spirit tokens are done by.
And my favorite of hers is the soldier token, the 1/1 soldier token. It's a female soldier in armor in a very menacing attack pose, kind of swinging her sword down.
I'm not even sure Grave Titan, not even your Grave Titan can
Blake's
save you now.
untapping, so this is it, right?
This is it. Blake, he's waiting for Blake to turn his thing sideways. He's going to kill the Snapcaster. But I don't think he has a live top deck here. And that is the match. Blake Kirtle, the Blue-White Delver. Blake now 1 match away from the top 8. Defeats Edwin Garcia.
Gets the fist bump from his friend. Oh, 2 fist bumps.
2 fist bumps.
Back-to-back fist bumps for Blake Kirtle. And that match, I mean, we both felt like Edwin made made a mistake there, not flashing back the lingering swords.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of chance. I think he had a